You've made it to Chiro Hustle. Sit back and learn from the greatest influencers in the profession on the world's #1 chiropractic podcast. Before we dive into this powerful episode, please remember to subscribe to our channels and give us a 5-star rating on iTunes to continue hustling. This episode is sponsored by Imaging Services, Chiro Health USA, Chiro Moguls, Chiropractic Rocks, True Weight Solutions, The 100-Year Lifestyle, Pure Chiro Notes, Titronics, Ultimate Entrepreneur Opportunity, BrainTap, Sherman College of Chiropractic, SCED, ChiroPro Accounting, and Midwest Brain Health Technology. Let's hustle!
Hey guys, welcome to episode 251 of the Chiro Hustle podcast. I am your co-host Luke Millette. Here is your host Jim Chester.
So today we had the opportunity of interviewing Dr. Hillary Hushower, and if you want to hear from a real MommaPreneur and a MommaPracter, stay tuned. Welcome to another episode of the Chiro Hustle podcast. We have Dr. Hillary Hushower coming in from Carmel, Indiana today, and we have Luke Millette and Jim Chester coming in from Grand Junction, Colorado. And this is episode 251 of the Chiro Hustle podcast. And I just want to give you a warm welcome to our show today.
Thank you so much. I appreciate the invite today.
So maybe you could start by telling us your chiropractic story and what inspired you to become a chiropractor.
Sure. It's funny. I started out not in chiropractic school. Like most people thought that they wouldn't go to chiropractic school. I started out in pharmacy and went to a great school in Michigan and was a pharmacy tech on the weekends and hated it. And I looked at the pharmacists and how much they hated their jobs and they pushed so many drugs. And I would say like, well, why can't they just eat healthier, exercise and not have to take X, Y, and Z? And they're like, well, that's what the doctor prescribed. And I thought, well, I'm not going to make a difference in people just being the pill pusher. And they literally were depressed and they hated their lives. And I thought, I'm not going to do this. So I started to research alternative medicine, came across like chiropractic. And I had an uncle in my family who's a chiropractor, and we weren't close and he lived in Minnesota, but I just did my own research and I applied, I prayed, applied, I got in. And I mean, with all in a month, everything changed, everything, was just the right path. And I'm so glad that I had that like aha moment that wasn't the life that I wanted to lead.
So what are some things that would you say make you unique in the chiropractic world?
Yeah, I try to have a lot of fun and do a lot of marketing with my office. So on a weekly, monthly, daily basis, we're doing something with the patients. We have events all the time in the office. Even during COVID, we were having virtual events, virtual bingo, interviewing local places. I would go and I would drop off money or buy certificate at local businesses and encourage my followers to go in and have a cup of coffee on me, support small businesses, support female businesses, support Black-owned businesses. So I tried to get involved in the community a lot. And that's what really helped me in 2007 start my business, was to get involved with the community. Back then I had more time, so I would volunteer a lot. And now that I have less time, I tend to donate more and purchase more and promote on social media more the other small businesses. So I have like little groups on social media where I invite my patients to join and interact with them, and little like what I call like ladies socials. Every month we get together at the office, and when it's summertime, we are out on a patio sipping wine or water and just talking about life and just getting to really know the patients and not treating them like a number.
Yeah, it's really cool. When I first came in your ecosystem, you're actually in a women's chiropractic group on Clubhouse. And I know that that's like something that you also participate with, is helping people understand what made you actually make an impact in your community, which I think is really cool. And when I heard you speaking, I was like, wow, she really understands business. And I know that a lot of chiropractors that are even seasoned chiropractors they have a hard time connecting the dots between what to actually do, what actually works, and how to make an impact in their local community. Because, I hear all the time, chiropractors, they go to school, they learn how to be great. Maybe they learn how to become great adjusters. But they sometimes miss the business principles.
Yeah.
And I love what you're saying about community involvement and becoming somebody that, attaches to other people's movements within the community and helps them and supports them and creates opportunities for more people to get together. And whether that's virtually or in person, I think that that's just massive for people to be able to understand that marketing is familiarity. And when you understand that familiarity builds up your reputation builds up your necessity for your services. And then people are going to be like, wow, so Dr. Hillary, what do you do? You're like, oh, I'm glad you asked. I'm glad I could put on all these awesome events for you guys and open up our clinic to you. And yeah, this is kind of what we do. And I guess my question for you is, how have you seen that shift into a positive direction for you because of that type of community outreach?
Yeah, I think that from early on, I was always that chiropractor that gave back or would donate a proceed of your new patient exam to this local charity. So building that up for the past, whatever I'm in, 13, 14 years, like I want to first be like, what can I do for others before asking what can they do for me? I know there's a whole saying about that. I forget off the top of my head, but I want to be that person that gives back, or I give out things to the community. And then they're like, oh yeah, and you're also a chiropractor, like that was always important to me, is like fundraising and volunteering. That's always been a big part of me. And so even though maybe I can't volunteer like I used to for Habitat for Humanity or for the galas, like I can still give back and raise money other ways for them, or do like clothing drives at our office and canned food drives and all different things like that.
So, what would you say are some of your favorite mantras or motivational quotes that keep you fired up?
Yeah. We have like a family one, and it's, I'm a money magnet. I literally taught my kids to say that. We pick up pennies off the side of the road and in parking lots. And when my 4-year-old first found his penny and he screamed out in a parking lot that he's a money magnet, we knew he was a keeper. But it doesn't have to be money, it could be a something else type of magnet. But I believe that the more money you have and make, the more you can donate and give away, not just to make me richer, but to help others out. So, I could be a business magnet, or I put up things all on my wall that are my affirmations. One of them I can see from here, it says, there's plenty of money in the world and a large chunk will drop effortlessly into my lap. So knowing my worth and knowing that I give back, it will all come full circle to me.
I love the certainty. I love the attraction to abundance.
Mm-hmm.
I think really that's why I reached out to you, because I was like, wow, this gal just gets it. I heard everybody else speaking in that group, and I was like, this, it's like the water parted. And I was like, I'm coming to you, Hillary.
Thanks, Jim. I'm glad you could see me through it all.
And I thought it was like an essential opportunity for us to connect, because 13 years in business is a great opportunity to share your knowledge with people. And the chiropractic profession needs great, strong women leadership. Mm-hmm. And they need to have people that are understanding business to actually share this information with other people. And, like Sid Williams would say, like, give for the sake of giving, love for the sake of loving, and serve for the sake of serving. And I really believe that when I heard you speaking in that group, that's all you were about. And I was like, this girl or this lady is going to like really like inspire some people with her voice when we get a chance to connect. And so I'm just really thankful that you took the opportunity to do an interview with us. I guess my question based off of your marketing position, have you noticed that it's made a change in your local community since you've been doing this for 13 years?
Yes, and what I love to see is when they're copycats, which I think that's the best form of flattery, right? Where it might be the local coffee shop that's doing things similar to what I'm did or have done. And I'm like, yes, this is what we need to do. We need to all pull together and help each other. It's not just me or I'm doing it for all the attention. I'm literally trying to bring us together and work together as a community and have those partnerships and people that can help influence our own circles and just work together. So I love it when I see it on social media where someone else has put $100 tab down somewhere. And I'm like, yes, I did that last year. Keep doing it. If we had more people and businesses doing that instead of thinking, what are they getting out of it? And instead think, what can I do for everyone as a whole and pull together? It will all come back around and their business could flourish even more.
Well, I've noticed that in my personal life. When I started giving a lot of money to church, like I didn't realize what would happen. I was just like, well, I'm going to just start giving more money. And as I started giving more money, our businesses have all just started getting more money. And I think it's, some type of a law of reciprocity of abundance. Like when you have more, you give more, you get more.
Yeah.
And when you think of life in those terms, that, yeah, what's happening now is I'm going to say this today, and there's going to be people that listen to this, and they're going to start giving more money to their church, and they'll have this life of abundance happening because they actually gave out of their abundance, and now it's returning to them. And you don't ever expect it to happen, but it's really cool that you can see other people following your lead. And I'll go back to this over and over again. That's why I thought it'd be so essential to bring you on, because the things that you're going to share with people are things that people are going to really anchor to, that in a year from now, they're going to do again. And the chiropractors are going to do this again. It's not just the coffee shop. So let's explain to people a little bit about the $100 tab that you do and why that's so effective for business growth.
Yeah. Either I did $100 tab or I would buy a certain amount of something. So let's say the last one I did was a kid store. It was one of those mom and pop type of kid toy stores, which is great. That's where we always buy our kids gifts and stuff to help support them. So I just went and bought 10 puzzles. And I just went there, did a video, said, I'm here. You guys should come pick up a puzzle. Because I thought, that's for any age group. Even my husband and I love to do puzzles. So come here, support locally, see their shop, pick up a puzzle on Dr. Hillary, and then my money buying those puzzles for that toy store will help out their revenue, right? I put their stuff on social media, and I know that they were thankful, and I'm sure someday the universe is going to come back around. It's not like I did it to get a new patient. I didn't even ask for anything. I just said, go pick one up on me.
That's really nice. Yeah, I think, we have to come from that position of, I know it's a big word in the group that you're in called benevolence. What does that word mean to you?
I would say, giving back fully with your heart, not holding back.
Yeah, it's awesome to hear that. And I know that chiropractors, sometimes they don't understand what that is because they're just so busy trying to get their businesses rolling. But if you don't go out there and make those positive moves in your local community, you're leaving a lot of opportunity out there without helping others. And it's not just the physical adjustment that can help people. It's the energetic adjustment that can help people. And, there's chemical, physical, and emotional stressors that cause subluxation. Well, when people are under high stress in your local community, that's causing dysfunction and that's causing stress. So if a chiropractor can go out there and be a beacon of light and give back, it shows that I am not just great at adjusting people, but I'm also great at helping my community that's in stress right now. And even when things weren't like in scamdemic phase, like we had the opportunity of going out there and still making a positive impact by doing great things and supporting others. And have you seen like a shift since like everybody's been afraid of the world? by doing this, and it's actually helped like save some businesses?
Yeah, I'd like to think so. I feel like, although to be fair, in my city, it's pretty affluent, and there hasn't been a lot of closures, thankfully. But I think that it's helping out the locals that perhaps weren't working during the time. I know a lot of times I did it at restaurants, and they're like, "Thank you. I wasn't gonna, go out to eat for a while and pick up takeout because I lost my job." So it was great to hear those like comments that they at least got like a meal at the local Mexican place down the road for me for free, just for something to do, to get out of the house, to go pick up some tacos. And so like I felt good about that, just to help them make their day.
That's nice.
So how do you think the world would change if everyone started getting adjusted when necessary?
Yeah. Well, I think that obviously there would be less needs for drugs and surgery. I think that's one of the big reasons that I shifted from pharmacy to chiropractic, is that I saw that it was a bad spiral. It was out of control. And that was like, I don't know, 15, 16 years ago. And it was bad then. And it seems like it's just getting worse now. I would also like to see maybe people understanding that just because their insurance doesn't cover so many visits a year, that the quality of the adjustment, it far outweighs their cost. And that I'm trying to explain, at least to my patients, that we can't allow the insurance companies to dictate to us how we care for our own bodies.
Yeah, I got into chiropractic 12 years ago, and that was really what I had a hard time with. Is there's people's jobs that are just like specifically designed to get phone calls set through to find out what benefits and eligibility are.
Yeah.
And I'm like, if I take one more of those calls, I'm flipping tables and kicking coolers, because like it's such a time suck on the workload of an office, but it's also such a confusing state for the end consumer to not know what they have. Like I think it was meant to confuse people. And then people are like, well, why doesn't it, like, how can I just not give you this and like get my adjustment? But it's not that easy. It's never designed to be that easy. So, people think like, health insurance is actually health care, and it's not. And it's a reduction style model that if you do fall into crisis care, they will help you. But if it's meant to make you healthy, they don't want it. I mean, it's not a part of their paradigm. They're in crisis care and like sick care. So when it comes to like, care of health model, yeah, the insurance companies, they want people to be confused, to think that that actually is a benefit to them. But really, they just want to like, work in that model of drug it out, cut it out, burn it out.
Mm-hmm.
And when it comes to adjusting and keeping people vibrant and healthy, they're like, we don't really believe in that. So why would we reimburse that? And I'm like, well, if I buy health insurance, I want them to like pay for my like organic food and reimburse me on that. I want them to like give me subsidies for my gym membership and my park passes and my hiking gear and my weightlifting gear. And yeah, that's health insurance to me. So I think when people come in and they're like, well, what do my benefits cover? And then you have somebody in your office that specifically does that type of stuff. It gets people really nowhere. So I think that it's important to have these conversations, because people are going to watch us and I'm like, wow, that's why chiropractors charge cash.
I am personally one of those offices that does allow insurance to be billed in my office, and I'm personally taking a step to get away from that. I've already got out of network with one of them, and so I just feel like if we all pulled together and stood up maybe to these insurance companies, or at least educated our patients more about like paying for what they're getting, that I think there'd be a big shift. And I remind them, follow the money. Like, what do you think makes money? Drugs and surgeries? Yeah, that's why they push it.
Yeah. And, the other part of the conversation is letting the people that will be listening to this why a chiropractor's malpractice insurance is so low, and why chiropractors don't hurt people. And and why the malpractice for the other type of healthcare providers is so high, because there's a chance that you might get hurt. So I think that's also a cultural conversation. A lot of people listen to this conversation between us and they're like, wow, I didn't think of it that way. I didn't think of it that way. So we're really like bringing a lot of the conversations to light that a lot of people need to hear. And one of the things is if you don't invest in your health now, you'll pay for sickness later.
Yeah.
And I mean, that is like the truth. And, one of the other sayings is this, chiropractic gives you life to your years and years to your life. And one of my favorite guys, his name's Gordon Hay. He's like, I want to see people walking a dog when they're 80 and not a cane. And I think that if we think about these little catchphrases and we start to build that up into our knowledge base, I want to see everybody walking a dog at 80 years old and not a cane or a walker. And I think chiropractic has the ability to help people to do that. And it's not about the pain game. It's about the mobility game, the quality of life game, and the outcome. And I think that if you think about what you're doing in your small community, that's not so small to you, but it's small to the rest of the world. But if you're doing that thing and you're teaching people these life principles and you're keeping them more mobile, now you're creating a better community around you to where, you have a better, quality of life in Carmel, Indiana, as opposed to watching more people limp, more people in not getting around well. But now you're actually becoming a life force for them and providing services to them to keep them healthy long term.
I know. That's funny that you mentioned that because I just did a live in my I have a wellness with Dr. Hillary group on Facebook, and I just did. I don't know if you've ever seen this little book. It's called Instant Karma. And one of the pages I read today on my live talks about your health and maintaining your health. So I went into that and I said, if you live to be 100, what do you want those years to look like? Do you want to be mobile or in a walker? So that way people can start thinking of that stuff too.
So where do you see the chiropractic profession as a whole going in the next 20 years or so?
Well, I'm a little biased. I would love more female chiropractors. I'm a huge champion for women of any small business and any women in general. Okay. So I'm really hopeful and I'm again a little biased. Do I think that we make better doctors? Maybe, so I want to see more of my fellow women out there and them starting their own businesses. And I want to see us more into cash practices and away from the insurances.
You are so spot on. I think that recently it's been said that 50% of the students in colleges now are like equal, men and women in college. So it's really cool to see that women are more inclined to go to chiro school now and to become chiropractic doctors. So I look forward to that too. Like, I think, obviously like women have always been like the healthcare providers for the family and they've been the decision makers for the family. And I think that it just makes sense that women chiropractors can be the decision makers for other people's families.
That's a great way to look at it. Yeah. Yeah. I will say yes with that one. Yes.
And I'm not taking anything away from like the male counterparts.
No.
Because, we've had to build a profession together and you can't take one without the other. No. So when you think about like the whole picture of this, I do see the woman chiropractor becoming more influential over time. And I think it's perfect. I think that having more inclusion of a diverse group of people that are leading chiropractic is what we need to where we can have more diversity in decision making. So I honor everything you said. So let's switch gears just a little bit and talk more personal. Who are some of your heroes? It could be somebody that's with us today. It could be somebody historical in the past, and then we'll have a follow-up question for that too. But maybe you could just share with us like heroes of like who's helped Dr. Hillary become Dr. Hillary.
Yeah, I would say one of my favorites is actually Oprah. If I could meet anyone, I would totally sit down with her. I love learning about her struggles and where she came and the effort that she put in paving the way for women in business. And so like she's always one of my number ones, to be honest. But I love learning about like women's history and movements and African American women. In Indianapolis, there is a famous building here named after someone. And it's just like, I love being around that and seeing like what the women did to pave our future and then kind of like what we can do now to pave the future. Like I have daughters, so like what can we do to make things even better?
You've made it to Chiro Hustle. Sit back and learn from the greatest influencers in the profession on the world's #1 chiropractic podcast. This episode is sponsored by Imaging Services, Chiro Health USA, Chiro Moguls, Chiropractic Rocks, True Weight Solutions, The 100-Year Lifestyle, Pure Chiro Notes, Titronics, Ultimate Entrepreneur Opportunity, BrainTap, Sherman College of Chiropractic, SCED, ChiroPro Accounting, and Midwest Brain Health Technology. Let's hustle. Yeah, I think there's a lot to be said about people that come from nowhere and become something. Mm-hmm. And I don't know Oprah's story so well, but I do know that she became iconic and she worked her position the best that she knew how to until she got to the next opportunity. And I think that that's something impressive for most people to kind of look at and to say, I'm not a product of my environment. Mm-hmm. I'm a product of what I make my next day. Mm-hmm. And I think that if most people just kind of looked at themselves with those type of opportunities, they wouldn't get depressed and think that they can only work an hourly job. They would actually go on and figure out that there's more $100 bills in the world than there's $1 bills. And they'd go after those $100 bills and become a money magnet like you.
Yes. I mean, no one gave me this practice, or my parents weren't doctors. You know, I built everything up. In fact, I was telling one of my staff members that when I got my first business loan, my parents wouldn't co-sign with me, which is fine. You know, it just goes to show that you can do it on your own, you know, and like Oprah, she came from nothing and became what she is. And I just think that she's a great role model in the information that I have about her. Yeah.
So you do a lot of marketing. Maybe you could tell us some marketing that you've tried that did not work out at all. And then maybe what did you learn from it?
Yeah, I just recently did a radio ad. And I was a little hesitant about doing it, but I did it, and it didn't really pan out to what we had hoped. And so learning from that, they said, you know, well, maybe run it for longer and et cetera. But I feel that I like to get to know my patients and know my community. And I don't feel like radio was it for me, you know, unless I could be talking like I am with you guys and letting them get to know me. I feel like them picking their chiropractor should be more than just a radio ad or a TV ad or an ad in the newspaper. But I like to personally get to know people and then bring them in and have like the best quality patient and not over quantity.
Well, let's talk about some initiatives besides the benevolence, buying meals and toys that works for you that other people might be able to glean from you.
Yeah, I do a lot of events in office. As I was saying, I do a monthly event. It's just called the Ladies Social Event. And we just sit around and drink tea or wine or whatever it is. And we just chat about life and health. And eventually they get around to some people half of them are patients, half of them are people in the community. And it's just very like low key. It's about an hour and a half a month. And it's just getting to know them. And I tell my patients, like, you know, I'd love to chat with you more. Why don't you come to this event? And I have done things for both men and women. It just seems like over time, mostly it's the women that come to them versus the men. So I just started switching it just to ladies only. And they love coming and chatting, and they bring their friends, and we just talk It could be about the healthcare system. It could be about education and homeschooling, things like that. So I've been doing that every month for as long as I can remember. And we do like ladies like spa nights in the office. I've done coffee tasting. I sponsor like running clubs, and then they come to the office and I have all the stuff set out for them, and just so they can meet and interact. And I don't do any screenings on them or sell them chiropractic. I just talk to them and get to know them. And it's, they can get to know me and the office, and then how we're different from all the other offices.
Yeah, I think that that's the biggest thing, is being an open door for people and holding space for people. And it's very unique. There's not a lot of places that are actually offering those types of get-togethers and those types of community involvement groups that don't have some direction around like a small business association or something like that, or some type of chamber of commerce. I think it's pretty cool that you're actually doing that for other people that are contributing to your local community and saying, hey, let's just have a get together and let's have a social hour. And I tell everybody this is like, always be social on social, like, but also be social in your local communities is what I'm picking up from you. And if you're on both, like you said, you don't like the non, tactical, like, hey, I'm just going to throw up like a commercial on a radio station. You like the actual in-person of effect. And I think that I've been teaching people for a long time is to become social on social, is to, actually interact with people on social media and use what it's for. And I think that you're using like your local business as a social platform to actually give people opportunities to be acknowledged and to be heard and to share. And I think that so many people, they think of like their office as where they go and just like work. But you also have to open up the door sometimes if you want to see expansion within your local community and give people the opportunities to like build a community with you. So I think your initiatives that you've done are brilliant, and it is thinking outside the box, and it is thinking outside of the work hours. How have you seen that like benefiting like your personal life? Have you seen that being something you've made friends through?
Yeah, and I'm an extrovert, if you hadn't noticed. So I thrive off of meeting people and like just engaging with people. Like that peps me up. So when we do this on the last Friday of every month, and I've already worked X amount of hours that week, I like that energizes me to go and sit there with these ladies and just chat with them and learn about their lives and their kids and whatever else they're doing, or what new workout they're doing, or give them ideas of, you should come to yoga with me sometime, and just inviting them to do stuff with me. I mean, almost every week I look around in the yoga studio and I'm like waving at one of my patients that I know that either like I knew she went there or I invited her and now she's a member there. So I would say like, I hope people aren't afraid to like get to know their patients, you know what I mean? And like, if they reach out to me on Facebook to be a Facebook friend, then of course I'm going to say yes. I mean, they want to get to know us, and they more than just doctor patient. And so that's what I try to give them, and, be someone they can come to. So if they send me a Facebook Messenger question about, hey, my daughter sprained her ankle, what should I do? Like, I don't find any offense to doing that, and just to be like that type of chiropractor for them.
So what would be some advice that you would give to a student who's about to graduate, or maybe someone who's already graduated but struggling in practice?
Yeah, I think getting to know the community. And I guess it depends too on the type of personality. If it's someone like me that doesn't mind walking up to random strangers and introducing myself, I mean, heck, I used to go door to door. So that's how long ago it was doing that, just to get to know people. Start a networking group. I've started groups. I've been in those BNI groups. Now I currently once a month I have what's called an Indie MommaPreneurs. And so it's local Indianapolis moms that own businesses that come once a month, and we chat about business and how can I help you grow your business? So maybe going after and what can you do to help other people and help the businesses, instead of, hey, can I do a spine screening at your business? Can I do a talk at your business? What can I do for you instead?
I love that. I love the idea of hosting something for people that are like in the flow of business, but those people are like, they don't ever tell people how damn stressed they are,
Mhm.
because I guarantee you, each one of those women that's a mommapreneur that's out there hustling their butt off,
Yeah.
they are subluxated, they are taking care of families, they're at like peak state of stress, and they need somebody like you to say, okay, I understand you, I acknowledge you, I see you. By the way, I'm a chiropractor.
Mhm.
And that's how you build those authentic relationships with people. And it's an equal exchange, because there's an old saying that says, people don't care how interesting you are until they know how interested you are. I think I
Yes.
totally screwed that one up, but people don't care how interesting you are until they know how interested you are. So if
Yes.
you show
In the other
interest in
person.
people. Yes, yes. Like, that's the thing is, like, for us, when I reached out to you, you didn't know how, um, why I was interested in you until you understood that we were interested in chiropractic.
Mhm.
And because of that bond, now you're like, yeah, I would love to do a show with you guys because you guys are interested in what I'm interested in. And now
Mhm.
you're interested in my story. And I think
Mhm.
that that's really how we build this unique brand with other people, is you start asking them to talk about themselves. And now when I see you, I'll give you a big hug and you'll be like, oh, Jim, it's so good to see you. And I'll be like, yeah, like we're like old friends. But really, I was just really interested in what you were doing because I knew that our audience would benefit from having you on our show.
Mhm. Mhm. I know, and I've gotten quite a few new patients from my mompreneurs group, but I never asked for it. In fact, I don't even know that I've ever talked about chiropractic. I talk about business with them. I'm like, hey, have you read the Little Money Bible? Have you read this Karma book? Let me tell you what I've learned. Let me tell you what I learned in this business class, because I'm always taking business and marketing and et cetera, and just giving back to them. Or have you tried this? Most of them are smaller businesses than I am, so I can like be a little mentor almost, if you will, to them.
Yeah, that's super, super, super cool to hear, how strategic you are and how thoughtful you are and how you're looking to give back. And it's not always about you. It's about how can I be of service to people and be of exchange to people. And I'm not going to just go harvest their, clients and their business, their people that work at their businesses. I'm actually giving back to them before they ever know I was ever going to give anything to them.
Mhm.
And I think that that's really cool. And I don't really pick that vibe up from a lot of people. So when I first heard you talking in that woman's group, I was like, wow, more people need to know who Dr. Hillary is.
Thanks, Jim. And I was like, why is there this one male guy in our group? No, I'm just kidding. I was like, they let him in, so he must be legit. Okay, we'll talk.
Yeah. I mean, I've really resonated with a lot of the leadership in that group for a long time. And if they could have me at everything that they did, I'm sure they would. But it is a women's group, and I know that Clubhouse is one of those platforms that anybody can jump into and have a conversation. So it's not gender biased.
No, I know. I'm just giving you a hard time.
You should. You should.
So do you think students should pick their schools based on geographic location?
Gosh, that's hard. I kind of picked mine based on what I thought was the best. I went to Palmer and Davenport. When I heard that it was the Fountainhead, I was like, sign me up. I literally didn't even look at any other school. So, I mean, I could see why people would choose based on geographic. However, I think that a lot of the things that I learned were learned outside of those walls. And so I would encourage them to go to the free seminars and the discounted seminars for marketing and business, or maybe a technique, but just to absorb as much as possible, read as much as possible, because even though I did those things, I still felt not prepared going from graduation to purchasing a practice and on on my feet running.
Yeah, I think there's a lot to be said about decision making and where it leads people in the future. And I just urge people to when they do decide on becoming a chiropractor, to understand that there's a triune of the profession. There's science, philosophy, and art, but they can't also forget business. So they have to understand that chiropractic isn't just an adjusting profession. It's a business profession, and it's a small business profession. And you have to become mentored, and you have to find good leadership, and you have to find people to model from, and you have to find people that are willing to take you in and to teach you, and you need great mentors. So it's bigger than just the educational institution. It's your network. And there's an old saying, I mean, I'm such a cliche guy, like your network is your net worth. And if you're a chiropractor that's just out of school, find yourself some great mentors and start paying attention to other people's success models, and don't recreate the wheel. And understand that there are marketing strategies that work for everybody. So understanding marketing and business are the parts where I think most chiropractors don't get that fundamental connection. They understand how to pass tests. They understand that, they're going to be a doctor, and they understand that they took a buttload of debt to become that doctor. So understanding all that success, that's really, I think people should go to whatever school they want to, but they should not forget that there is 3 components: science, philosophy, and art. And they can't become successful if they don't understand successful business modeling. So I like what you said, and you went to the first and the I don't know, I don't want to speak out of turn, but it's where I grew up. I grew up in Davenport, Iowa. So
I love that city. I would have stayed there, Jim, if there weren't like 100 chiropractors there. I love it. I love the QC. Yeah, I started with a coaching company before I even graduated. And so like, I'm a huge fan of coaches. There's never been a month in my life where I didn't have a business coach or 2, and just recently, someone that I was chatting with, she's like, that's it. I want you to coach me. And I thought, it's always in the back of my mind. I wondered if I would make a good coach sometime, and it all, your path lays it out. I can't really say that I can plan anything because God has the plan for me, but it's just interesting to see, that all my years of coaching might just full circle back to me at some point.
Well, I would be one of your students.
Thanks, Jim.
So what do you like to read and listen to in your spare time? And what are some of your hobbies? What do you do for fun?
Yeah, I do read a lot. I switch back and forth between Audible and paper book, and now I'm on the paper book train again. But the book that I've read the most times is The Little Money Bible. And I have probably read that 4 or 5 times, and I have it laying around here somewhere because I really like to think in those positive, I'm a money magnet type of thing. And, business is abundant and money is abundance, and, that good, like mental things that I need to hear over and over and over again. So I like books like that. And then I like to reread them, especially good ones. And I have 2 on my desk that I just got shipped from Amazon. So what do I like to do for fun? Shop on Amazon. But recently I've decided to have everything shipped to my office so my husband doesn't know. My staff was like, you're getting another package? I was like, I can't send that home. Why do you keep buying all these books? So I love to read, Luke, when you ask, what do I like to do? I love to read. I love to be outdoors. I love to hike. Took the kids hiking over the weekend because it was, not freezing in Indiana. So that was a big deal. When it hits 40, like we're in short weather here. So.
Oh yeah. I grew up in Iowa. When it hits 40, it's like the spring thaw.
Oh yeah. It was like springtime. So yeah, we did some hiking. I love hiking and traveling, being outdoors and experiencing new things and new people.
That's awesome. It's fun to hear your enthusiasm for life.
Yeah.
And to know that you like to get out and enjoy yourself. And you also like to have community events, and you're always polishing your mind with knowledge. So it's really cool to hear.
So what are some websites people can go to if they want to learn more about you?
Yeah. I have just my basic office website. It's rangelinechiropractic.com. That's pretty basic, to be honest. But where people get to learn about me more is I have a private wellness group. It's called Wellness with Dr. Hillary on Facebook. And I have almost 700 members in there. So I'm building that up. But I talk in there a lot. I go live a lot. I do interviews on like local businesses just to help them out. Today I just went on live to talk about karma just because I had 10 minutes. You know, we do stretches on there and I do giveaways. I have this like spinny wheel and I have people submit their questions about me or chiropractic or the office. It doesn't really matter. And then I talk about it and then I spin the wheel and then they get a prize. So that's been really good for engagement in the group, but I'm always giving things to that group or give out information to them first before any of my other social media platforms.
Well, it's really cool to hear how you are managing your world and how you're actually creating an impact in your local community. And just really nice to digitally meet you and to have you on our show. I think a lot of people are going to learn from this conversation today. I know I have. And sometimes I'm a self-serving individual and I'm like, I'm going to bring somebody on because I like them. And I'm going to bring somebody on because they triggered me into wanting something more from them. So you are one of those people that came into my ecosystem and I'm like, I want more from this person because I think connecting with you is going to help a lot more people in the long run. So thank you for taking the opportunity to do an interview with us today on Chiro Hustle. You are episode 251. And, yeah, that's, we've been running now for over 3 years and I've had so much fun doing these types of interviews and getting to know chiropractors from a fundamental level. And it's just been really an honor to be able to do this type of work and to document the profession of chiropractic with stories. And we're just really happy to have your story be a part of that.
Thank you. Well, I've listened to several of your episodes and you guys do an amazing job. I hope someday that I can be as awesome as you two on a podcast.
Well, thank you for being our guest today, Dr. Hillary, and we want you to enjoy the rest of your afternoon.
Thank you.
Talk to you soon.
Sounds great.
All right. Bye for now. Thanks for listening to Chiro Hustle. Don't forget to subscribe and check back next week to continue hustling.